But let's discuss the new trend, which is workation. It's not a vacation, considering you can't go anywhere. So you go close by to where you live and ensure that you can work out of those places. So that's what's called a workation. And as we understand, there are some resorts as well as hotels which are actually seeing an uptick coming in their room reservations. So let's discuss this trend further. I mean, is this only near term? Is it just people getting fed up of cooped up at homes, which are actually hooking off? And how safe are people really feeling in taking these vacations? We have with us Jimmy Mistry, founder and chairman at Della Resorts and Adventure. We also have with us Ankita Sheth, co-founder at Vista Rooms, joining in. Both of you, good morning. Good to have you on the show. Ankita, is workation as a trend really picking up, considering you can't take a vacation possibly right now?
Yes, it's been a very good show. I think August has been extremely a busy month for us. We've seen a lot of people all across major metros going to these beautiful homes. It was a sudden change in the trend that we've seen. People want to go to these private places in their own groups where they're having some Wi-Fi, close to nature, away from the city. So it's been a busy time for us.
Jimmy, hi, morning. Do you think that this is more of an urban trend because it's only in Delhi and Mumbai where you're cooped up in condos and apartments that you feel the urge to get away after 4 months of a lockdown and restricted to, the four walls of your apartments? Or do you sense that this is a larger trend which is picking up even in, say, tier 2 towns or, the NCR or Greater Mumbai region as well?
Yeah, it is tier 2 and the metros both, where we've seen people flocking out. I think it was more like people were prisoned and then suddenly they have this nature where they can have good time, work, etc. So it's been really well now.
Hi, good morning.
Jimmy, what's been
it's a global trend, and the same thing is happening in India as well. It's a global trend. It's happening in India as well. And I think it's happening all across the country. When we saw resorts and hotels unlock across in Europe and Middle East, we were wondering if the same is going to repeat in India or where the Indian mindset will not allow people to move out immediately after the lockdown. But people have been very positive. Last weekend, we were sold out 138 rooms and we were literally scouting for employees to come back to work and open up more room inventory. So it's a very positive trend. I was always expecting it to happen. Somehow I was very positive, and I think I was in the right direction.
Yeah, totally agree. It's been 20% of rehire for us in the workforce. So yes, it's been a good time and a good trend that we see in consumer behavior. Overall, the sentiment for people to travel has been quite high, and we see this coming towards at least the next 6 months is going to remain this busy. And then the regular trends, what we were in the previous years, should be going ahead.
Okay, so give us a sense in terms of the numbers as well. Ankita, let me start off with you. Are you offering discounts? Is that what's driving occupancy? Are the numbers looking better than they were pre-COVID? Or how would you compare it to last year? Does it, is there a dramatic improvement, of course, from what we were just seeing a couple of months ago? And in that context, is it giving you some amount of optimism going ahead? If you could just put it into context.
Yeah, sure. So pre-COVID numbers and today, March to June, I would say was literally zero. But July onwards, it picked with 40% demand that we used to have. And today we've reached 70 to 80%. We have various regions all across India. So, north, south, east, west. The regions that have worked the most actively are the west and the north. South had more containment zones, so it is still picking up. So overall, I would say we are at a 50 to 60% on an average to what we were. And this is much better because in our projections, we had expected this to probably turn by December and Jan, but we saw this change in August, July and August. And we see it only increasing. We have like future demand of almost 80% that we have already filled up, which is a great change in comparison to what we had thought it would be. So overall, yes, we've picked up pretty well. Our estimates were close to 2 years to recover this period, but seeing the trend right now, we see this as probably 11 to 12 months to recover the 4 or 5 months of the negative period that we had.
Exactly. Let me get you in on this as well and understand from you, Mr. Mistry, what the numbers are looking like, because while there has been a huge spike at this time, it's really going to be a long road to recovery.
I agree with you completely. What future holds for us, it's for time to tell. However, the spike to sustain is only going to be happening with change and on our marketing strategies. So last year and for the last 10 years, we've been doing year on year about 60 to 62% year on year average occupancy. And weekends, of course, we are completely sold out. But this year, whether the corporates will return back, whether the weddings will come with the same force, though the bookings are positive. And like Ankita said earlier, yes, we were expecting it to be November, December, but the spike has come in early. And it is a positive sentiment. It's going to happen throughout the country. Even when complete restaurants and hotels open up across the country, I feel similar spikes to be witnessed. Sustaining it would be difficult unless and until there's a change and diversification in marketing strategies and something new or unique is being offered across to the consumer. But I feel things would be getting back to normal in a period of time for sure. And yet some properties will never see the light at the other end of the tunnel. So it's all about trying to renovate, reinvigorate your organizations and product offerings.
Ankita, give us some color on where is it that people are flocking to? Any hot destinations which are doing the rounds?
So if I take Maharashtra, the hottest has been Alibag and Lonavala for us, especially with the Roro and the weather in Lonavala that people want to go to. So these are two very, very active locations. And we've seen also a trend in a lot of people going for long stays, which is not the usual that we did. But as Mr. Mistry said, that your product offerings have to change. And that's where we've seen this trend picking up as well. And now looking forward to all the weddings and especially these two locations, we see a good turnout right now.
Right. Jimmy, on a cross-country basis, though, what are some of the hottest destinations that people are traveling to? Ankita gave us a color on Maharashtra, but beyond that, what else?
Maharashtra, definitely, yes. A couple of locations from Lonavala to Mahabaleshwar and Alibag. However, across in North India, the hill stations are picking up well. In South, all the boutique properties have been occupied. Even during lockdown, some of the properties were partially being occupied by long stay resident guests. So I think, like I said earlier, the sentiments are positive. It's just not the urban areas, but almost across India, the similar sentiments are there. Had it been a short-term lockdown, things would have been different. But long-term lockdown has definitely worked in favor, and definitely things are looking positive.
Are we also seeing, Jimmy, a redesign of certain strategies? Are people now looking for more customized boutique offerings, or perhaps even on the slightly higher end of the scale, looking for properties that they feel will be up to safety standards? So is there a shift in demand trends as well? What are you hearing, or the kind of feedback you're getting from customers, and how do you feel this will then loop back into new innovations in this space?
Abba, people are definitely looking forward to managements being responsible. So if your brand and property already stood the test of time so far, people have a certain amount of belief system and an EQ attached with your brand. They trust you more. A lot of things have changed. In-room dining is definitely on the upswing. Our own estimations and work in the last 2 months have shown in-room dining has picked up average about 5x of what it used to be. And that compensates for the banquets. But overall trends throughout, people are very, very cautious. And if they feel that there's responsible hospitality, they are more confident to come to you, more confident to recommend to their families and friends. Of course, horizontal properties have a value and an advantage, which is distinct and open to all, rather than vertical cooked up smaller properties. F&B is going to be more and more in-room. Families are going to come in larger and larger numbers. So one-off guests is lesser these days. It is more of larger families, people taking in 4 or 5 rooms together. And people are definitely looking for outdoor activities. So we are just waiting for Maharashtra government to announce reopening of adventure parks. And we should be able to get that business running as well. Our military training academy, which is a military themed resort, is doing exceptionally well because it's out there in the jungles and people feel more safer to be in a location like that. But yes, people are looking at managements who are acting responsibly and behaving responsibly, giving them a certain quantum of comfort level. But having said that, overdoing sanitization and overdoing, you can't let your lobbies look like a hospital lobby. So a lot of hotels initially started doing it and their presentations were completely negative and are put off to the overall positive sentiment that was being cooked up. I kept advising again and again to people, yes, do it, but don't overdo it. There is a fine line you need to draw between making people feel safe and making people feel vulnerable. In our case, we've always stood right in the front and we've been honest, open approach to our guests. We've never overdone sanitization and made it look like a hospital. Therein, there is a certain amount of comfort and confidence that builds in. But an open, transparent management is what the guests are looking for today.
Okay, and Ankita, in terms of further consolidation, just from an industry point of view, if you can also just help to shed some light on that, is it too early to tell, or do you see, do you see further consolidation in the sector given what's happening right now?
I think it's too early to tell because right now everybody is busy rebuilding and reopening and addressing the whole excess demand right now that certain locations are getting. So I would say it's a little early to say how the trend would be in terms of consolidation for future.
Abha, it will also all depend upon the government policies for hospitality. So far, the hospitality industry has been at the receiving end and has not received any support whatsoever apart from verbal from the government. If the government doesn't step in hard and support the industry, you will see loads and loads of consolidation. My guesstimation is 40% of properties will never see the light at the other end of the tunnel. Jobs are already not secured. Overall, hospitality industry has not been able to call even 20% of their employees back. We are one of the exceptions which have got almost about 50% of the employees now back. However, the overall industry is very, very badly hit. Government needs to step in. Just restructuring of accounts is ultimately going to see consolidation. People will sell out and move out. There'll be lots of mounting bed debts. It is not just restructuring of accounts, but government needs to step in with multiple benefits. This is an industry that provides 10% of our GDP approximately. And unless and until the government doesn't step in, it is going to be on the decline.
Absolutely, and that's the important point. Thanks so much for joining us, both of you, and sharing with us a perspective on really how things are evolving in the space. But for now, it's clearly, some relief coming in on the back of increasing workations and staycations.